Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this keynote focusing on cyber resilience. Before I start, I would like to thank the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore for this kind invitation. My name is Meier, and since 2008 I have been CEO of Hamburg Port Authority. From 2019 onwards I serve as Vice President of the International Association Ports and Harbors. With regard to the topic, I would like to briefly refer to the Chainport initiative. Together with the Port of Los Angeles, we at the Port of Hamburg founded the Chainport initiative in 2016. Since then, we have been continuously working on the topic of cybersecurity and exchanging best practices to prepare ourselves as best as possible for current risks. By profession, I am a computer scientist and therefore more than delighted to present you today the Hamburg Strategy to strengthen collective cyber resilience. But before I tell you this tale of one mother and 8 sisters, let me give you a brief detour on the question of why building collective cyber resilience matters. First, we need to acknowledge that the high pace of digitization. This can be recognized in the continuous evaluation of automation, remoteness and complexity of IT systems. In addition, more physical infrastructure gets digitized and connected, in the private but also in the public sector. Moreover, geopolitics play a significant role. Due to the Russian war in Ukraine, the situation in cyberspace for public entities is very tensioned. Thus, the role in cyberspace are clearly set. Offenders in cyberspace are in the driver's seat. They know when and how and where an attack takes place. Defenders, contrarily, are in the backseat. They must be all-time ready, do not know where and when attacks occur. You will see in a minute that this is highly relevant for public organizations. Current situation in cyberspace. To set the scene further for you, I would like to indicate my observations in 2 diagrams. The first graph is a record of sophisticated cyber incidents over the past 10 years by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. You can clearly observe that the number of recorded sophisticated cyber incidents increased significantly over the past decade. Apparently, automation and digitization made a lot of processes more convenient, but also more exposed to hackers. Notably, public critical infrastructure faced the risk of compromising and subversive attacks from cyberspace. Cyber threat target number 1, the public sector. This chart of Microsoft Defense Report from 2021 clearly indicates government, meaning the public, is by far the most threatened sector in cyberspace. According to this report in 2020, cyberspace became the most active domain, although it was the most recent recognized one. Public organizations need to be aware and on constant alert. Therefore, a fundamental question arises, also for the maritime sector. How can harbors, cities and port authorities become more resilient and faster to deal and cope with cyber attacks? Obstacles to overcome. Main obstacles in building collective cyber resilience. The bedrock of building collective cyber resilience is trust, digital trust. A trustful relation and cooperation cannot be taken for granted, even not in the public sector. Potential reasons might be turf wars among public entities, reputation-seeking behaviors of public top officials, or being afraid of revealing vulnerabilities towards others. The sharing of information and vulnerabilities represents a fundamental barrier, albeit research points into a different direction. Information sharing is a crucial component of mastering today's cyber threats. Another critical hurdle is staff shortage in the IT sector, underpinned by the wage gap between public and private IT sector. Ultimately, also legal frameworks represent an obstacle, especially in the scope of liability. The bar is set very high for the use of external personnel for cybersecurity cooperation. Digital trust starts on local level. In addition to previous slide, I want to stress that digital trust requires between people and systems. This encompasses the issues of data protection, cybersecurity, integrity, and data sovereignty. To achieve digital trust, we must allow networking between the persons who build cybersecurity as well as to allow collaboration in action. A tale of one mother and 8 sisters. The basic concept of the Hamburg Strategy. Let me now present you the basic idea of the Hamburg Strategy and explain what this tale is all about. The cast of the mother in this story takes the Hamburg Ministry of Economic Affairs and Innovation. The ministry is committed to create optimal conditions for economic growth and technical progress in Hamburg and realizes this commitment through the supervision of 8 companies of public critical infrastructure. The tale for the 8 sisters. These 8 sisters are under the supervision of the ministry, but there is no direct economic competition between them. Furthermore, all 8 are from the same region of Germany, namely Hamburg. This highlights the fact that cyber resilience is a local issue. Besides the HPA, these 8 sisters include Hamburg Airport, public transport, electricity and gas grid operators, the Port and Logistics Service HHLA, the web portal of the City of Hamburg, and the city's marketing association. All these 8 companies provide critical infrastructure and share one common big challenge: finding the adequate solutions and to protect themselves against cyber attacks. Overview of the Hamburg Strategy. In order to facilitate this quest for local solutions and building cyber resilience in Hamburg, the Hamburg Strategy was launched. The Ministry of Economic Affairs and Innovation is the patron and principal in this strategy. The consortium will be led by the Dcso, the German cybersecurity organization. I will briefly explain the Dcso in the next 2 slides. The Hamburg Strategy also reaches out to cooperation partners. This includes Tensia, a startup for threat analytics, ARIC, an artificial intelligence-based evaluation data hub, and the University of Hamburg, which provides scientific support and including practical experience into its curriculum of information studies. The already 8 mentioned municipal companies act as associate partners. Come back to the brief introduction of Dcso. The model of Hamburg Strategy is more or less based on the German cybersecurity organization. This organization was founded in 2015 by 5 large German corporates: Allianz Insurance, BASF, and Meier, coming from the chemical industry, and Volkswagen. I will not go too much into detail, but the approach here is from private sector companies, but still the same compared to our Hamburg Strategy. Bundling forces to cope with the rising challenges from cyberspace and avoiding to outcompete each other by stealing employees away to enable the vision of community-driven collective cyber defense. A strong service and portfolio is needed This portfolio consists of preparation, detection, response and improvement. I will explain exactly what such a portfolio can look like at the end of my keynote. Let me continue with the unique selling proposition of this approach. First, security services focused on counterintelligence made in Germany, respectively from Hamburg. Second, a trusted community with a high degree of operationalized exchange and interaction is created out of the advisory board. You can see here that the Dcso advisory board is made from the who's who of German corporations, research institutes and government bodies. This is the third USP. Cooperation is institutionalized with government, law enforcement and intelligence services. How the Hamburg strategy will work. The project organization. Let me give you a glimpse into how the Hamburg strategy will be set up. There are three components. The first one is the digital board. Will be shared by the senators of Ministry of Economic Affairs and Innovation and the Ministry of Traffic and Mobility Transition. Within the digital board, the steering committee is located. The steering committee gathers several representatives of the core institutions and bodies of the Hamburg strategy. Example given, Ministry again of Economic Affairs and Innovation, the Dcso, or the advisory board, which will be headed by myself. The second part of this strategy is program management, which is the operational unit in the Hamburg strategy. The program management will be steered by the Dcso and encompass all partners plus the 8 public companies from Hamburg. The third component is the Free and Hanseatic City of Hamburg Security Initiative. The goal of this initiative is the creation of Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. Its focus lays on the training and education of current and future employees and creating awareness for the important issue of cybersecurity. Overall, a cybersecurity portfolio for Hamburg emerges. Let me give you an overview how this portfolio will look like. This slide will show you the design of the cybersecurity portfolio for Hamburg. 6 elements will be presented. The first, the Hamburg security community. Mutual exchange, lectures, workshops and overall sensitization are vital parts of this community. Second, the shared cybersecurity services consist of security threat detection, data safe and cybersecurity control center. Third, cybersecurity emergency task force is responsible for emergency aid, damage limitation and basic security check. Fourth, human resources development addresses the pooling of staff, training and further education through training on the job. Fifth, individual security services by companies encompasses the field of cloud computing, security site assessment as a risk analysis. Finally, the Cybersecurity Information Hub aims to inform about current threats, create awareness and sensitization and support programs of the City of Hamburg. Let me wrap up and reiterate at this point once again, before I elaborate on my takeaways. Cooperation and building of trust is key. Only collectively and together public sector organizations can prevail and defend themselves against threats from cyberspace. Collective cyber resilience and defense is built locally in the City of Hamburg. All parties contribute and are better off together. Shared services will be introduced only our own data can be viewed in full detail. Data and information of other participating organizations appear aggregated. Community building and the building of know-how is essential. Joint trainings and cyber defense exercises with simulated attacks enhance cyber resilience. Such a community approach can lead to spillover effects for other cities and areas or public organizations. Let me give you my 5 takeaways. Ports are critical infrastructure for many branches of economies. Hence, it is their very own interest to steer and lead the building of collective cyber resilience and defense. All port administrators and terminal operators are potential targets, particularly in the current global geopolitical environment. Name responsible employees and create cyber relevant positions. Example given: port cyber security officer. Remain on a local level and keep mother tongue's barriers in mind. Avoid becoming too big and making structures more complex. Thank you. Unfortunately, I was not able to speak live and in front of you today. Nevertheless, I hope that my presentation has given you a great overview of how we in Hamburg are trying to protect ourselves collectively against cyber attacks and to exchange information. Speaking of exchange, if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me or us. I look forward to hearing from you and say thank you very much for your attention.
Danke sehr. Thank you very much, Jens. Very interesting to see how this collective approach is trying to address some of these important issues. So thank you for sharing your insights from Hamburg on that.